Okay, so let's talk about repositories. The repository pattern provides a way to encapsulate your data access logic from the rest of the application. And the repository contract doesn't rely on any particular type of data storage that only comes into play when implementing it. So here we have our repository contract or our interface, and you can see there's nothing about any particular type of data storage, if it's a database or a list or anything like that. It just has these methods: get products, add product, and remove product. So here's where we implement the interface, and we can see as I scroll down that we have the actual data access. So we can see in the constructor it's creating our list, get products returns the list, add product adds a product to the list, remove product removes a product from the list. So the neat thing about this is you can have the same interface but multiple implementations. You can have a simple implementation like this, which is just a list, but you could also have an implementation that accesses a database. Why use a repository? It's easier to change the data access logic because the data access logic is all within the repository. So you only have to edit the repository. You don't have to go looking throughout your code base for all the different little places where you access the data. The other reason to use a repository is that it's great for testing. Maybe the actual repository that you use in your main code base calls into the database, but for testing you use a different repository that just returns hard-coded data objects. There are two types of repositories. There are generic and non-generic. This is a non-generic repository, and you can tell right here because it's taking product specifically and not type T. Generic repositories are really great if you have a large code base and you want a common API. So maybe you're using your generic repository all over the code base in multiple places. You've got a lot of implementations of it. And then non-generic are great if you want something simple or if your methods are specific. Like let's say our method specifically used product, so we had to use an interface that had product in it. Okay, so this is our repository. How do we use our repository? So we're in storerepository.cs. Let's go to shoppingviewmodel.cs. And here I've just highlighted store repository. You'll see there's actually two repositories here, store repository and cart repository, for accessing two different, I guess we'll say, databases. In this case, they're just lists, but we're only going to focus on store repository. So here is where it's stored. It's just in a private read-only variable. If I go to the constructor, you can see the repository is passed into the constructor and then stored in that variable. And then whenever we need to access the data or do things to the data, we use the repository methods. So for example, in this load function here, we use get products from store repository and we store them in the products list. If I look at products, you can see it is a binding list. The other times it's used, you can see when product is added to the cart, it is removed from the store repository because it's no longer in the store. So that is a quick introduction to repositories.